space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. Oh, I'm in space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. You know, space. Yeah, space. You know, space. Waiting for colonization of other Americans, we was the master. Only you religion that the Native Americans created NASA. It don't be mattering who I be hanging or sharing with, I got a backup. You in the village who died, it turned to a memory card. Look what they did in my family and kept all the history hidden from y'all. I just be trying to heal all my wounds, cause all of us really is scarred. Either they calling us niggas and then they gon' put us right into a car. Either they calling us satellites and they gon' turn us right into a star. Yeah. You listening to Medic comment, that's what the metaverse trying to mimic. I was the only one that left a comment. I am the loudest one I'm going live. You just a hater who just left a comment. I ain't got time to be dealing with pride. All of your egos that get mad with rockets. Yes, listen up, y'all ridiculous. Y'all little parliament bitch, I am one of the reasons the stars is twinkling. I'm chilling while y'all was mingling. Don't give a fuck about a Thanksgiving. Made a movie called E.T. They done turned my ass to a space engine. I'm like, oh, I'm in space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. Oh, I'm in space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. You know, space. Yeah, space. You know, space. Flights. Yeah, bitch, I be flying like postcards. In the middle of a trade route is the reason that you need a coast guard. About to do a war dance in a ceremony, we ain't taking no loss. Taking direction, but every time we going forward, get met with a roadblock. Cock-a-doodle-doo, acting like a bird, most of you demons got no cock. Cosplaying all the Native Americans, getting you nothing but Botox with synthetics and GMOs. When we talk about land, it ain't something you need to own. Just create a territory and get you a culture that everyone sees go. You was just wondering why she ain't listening to you and she just gonna be a hoe. You little homies is still colonizing and that is why you gotta dildo. I will pull up in a spaceship and still take your bitch, I don't care about your vehicle. Really's believing or not, to be looking at me and say it's unbelievable. The only one back from the dead, got everybody relapsing on meds. Yeah, you don't understand what you see. Sam, honey, let's get back in the bed. I thought I seen a ghost, but you are nothing but a pretty cat. Look up in the sky, see me flying by, don't really know what you looking at. I'm not flying. Oh, I'm in space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. Oh, I'm in space. They put me in technology and governance and put my ass in space. You know, space. Yeah, space. You know, space. Flights.
Space. I was just get out of space. So I woke up with birdies flying over my head. Woke up, lost half of my shit. Lost half of my shit. You know what I'm saying? Now let's check this out. We're gonna talk about goddamn heaven and hell. But the terms y'all giving to things may be the wrong idea. And we're gonna do an open panel and stuff for people to get out of hell themselves. I know a lot of people need to get out of hell. A lot of people might not know they're in hell right now. You're living in hell in your mind. You be wanting to wake up out of stuff, even if it's a beautiful dream, your mind. The only thing you're trying to get out of is what? Your mind. But the reason you might be trying to get out of it is because what kind of mind you making. So it's about we making things. We're creators. We create that light, that internal fire. And if you have an insufficient way of making it, it's going to lack. And it's going to play out in terms that we use in the encyclopedia like vulnerabilities, hurt people. You know what I'm saying? You not being able to manage your own mentality, and you already on that train of thought, line of reasoning as sparks of creation, so it develop and become your layering systems as the actual reality of your vulnerabilities, the actual reality of your dislikes, the actual reality of things that you may not like about yourself, and you may try to do external things to cover it up, or whatever that ego may be that, you know, poke a hole into that that spot that leave you naked and feeling vulnerable. So for the most part, this is all cover up coping mechanisms that we are creating realities out of, that I'm calling synthetic, that take you away from the beauty path, because you need to collect different colors, different ideas and feelings, and smear them all together to be able to deal with yourself. So when one area you don't like about yourself, you take another area you think you like about yourself to replace that. Then when you find something you don't like about yourself there, you find it in another area to replace it with that. And now you in your own darkness, you in your own hole. And if you get the wrong idea on how to do this, when somebody like me is here, you might try to write it down, create a mathematical precision, and don't think that the darkness is the water. And then you end up being the spark of a seed of a root spiritual race that's born in darkness. And then you want to write books about being born in darkness and things of that nature. But this is just truly where you come from already in the mind. Hell. And we have to make it. We make the organ. So you have to understand that. So if you're lost in the aspect of thinking, this world is hell, this body is hell, then that's your own subjective mentality, because you could be next to someone else who don't think this world is hell. And if they do think this world is hell, they'll be able to compare and contrast the synthetic version of other spirits coming from hell in their mind, bringing that on earth, that what we supposed to be calling heaven. So you can actually experience these things with a new glorified body, aka just a new species, a mind, a world condensed as an organ, a body. So you ain't talking about no other type of glorified body unless you lost in your mind. So we need to get people out of hell. You see what I'm saying? So this is what we got to do. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. And a lot of y'all waste it with bullshit, external things that ain't got nothing to do with condensing, becoming a dopamine, and flourishing your organs, and how you keep your organs replenished. Bitch, that's life. If you passing that internal energy and then you just lost in using your mind for external qualities, you're going to stay having to be lost for things to replenish, which your mind's supposed to already be duplicating and becoming a be. But your spirit have got lost into thinking it is the mind. So when you lose a piece of your mind, you think you lose a piece of yourself, and you get retarded. You know what I'm saying? But you could lose a hand right now and you still your name. You could lose a thought right now and you still that observer. So for the most part, you have misplaced the observer from you being the spirit, the soul, and replace that with you creating and getting lost in other creations as a team, aka our minds, our spaceship. And when you get lost into that, you might get lost into the wrong direction of where your spiritual path is supposed to be. And that leads you into your own individual Yahlahué. So ain't nothing real but the experience, and you ain't gonna take nothing with you but the experience. You might create a bunch of experiences as a mental concept to bend in to create a physical in heaven, if you can actually experience that. But you could get lost in that fruit, lost in that desire, if it's highly non-relatable. If it ain't relatable to how these things is here and you are here in the first place, you get caught in your own bucket. And then that's how the Great Spirit evaporates individuals. So here's the thing. There have been a long rhetoric based upon atheist logic and things of that nature, and ignorant people that want to do things within inside themselves outwardly and then justify, since things ain't happening to them outwardly, this is the reason why they don't believe in someone else's culture concept that I'm breaking down right now. What would be like Jehovah and a lot of other kind of concepts that they're plagiarizing and playing God themselves, even to the karma aspect, right? But that is off bribery. It has to be something that they have created synthetic for you to be in that position. But for the most part, when you look at it in this aspect, a person would justify from a faulty logic, using logic for logic instead of logic against logic. Using logic for logic is Eve, and using something for your emotions and thinking it's logic, giving it to Adam. Using logic for logic, using Eve, and then you forgot that's your desire and think is a logic because you confused it with thinking that it's the same as Adam. But for the most part, that's how you'll get lost in that situation too. So, but when you fight logic against logic, it's fruit against fruit. Who fruit better? And both trees got a masculine and feminine side of it. So when you just feeding off one tree, you're lost in dichotomy. When you see it's multiple trees, you're able to compare and contrast and don't get lost within a dichotomy or arguing for or against something or just being up under one tree. And therefore, that's a believing in something, not having just a belief. And you could believe that someone could be just lost up under one tree. Someone could just be lost up under a template or a concept, but you don't have to be inside it to argue for or against it. You can understand the thing as a whole. And then for the most part, treat it as such, if it's relatable or not, when it comes into the happy hunting grounds. But when it comes into your mind, the only thing is real is the experience. So the type of fruit and the type of mentality, you could lose yourself at times thinking you're doing something else by what we create with the body. The spirit create the mind, so the mind mimics the spirit. The mind condenses and becomes the organs in the body, so the body mimics the mind. And then anything we do with the body supposed to mimic the body. This is why we create things like chairs and stuff like that. So when you live backwards, you're lost in the external world to suit the body. Thank you so much for the cash app, Spamster. To suit the body, or to be in the center. I probably synthetic because I probably somebody trolling. But for the most part, you might be lost in external, where you're using external things to suit the body, and the body is in search to suit the organs, and the organs is made by the mind, the desires, and the desires could be lost if the spirit ain't in control of these things, and then the mind end up being in control over it due to the fact of some self-serving, egotistical thing that a person may justify why they can take from the external world in a negative way, whether it's dealing with people, places, or things. But this is purely things that we're developing in our own mind and making up the experience. Now, here's the thing. People may try to find a mathematical trick. Well, if I could sit here and think about beautiful dreams all day, then that mean when I die, I go to a beautiful dream. It don't matter what kind of dream, negative or positive. It got something to do with the holy relatability. So you can have a positive dream all you want. If it's highly unrelatable to anything outside of you, all the way to you had to have somebody here to get you out their ass and start feeding you and shit like that, then for the most part, that still becomes your own hell. It don't be no world where you think it's the most beautiful thing or whatever the case may be. Because don't ever forget, for you to have that feeling in the first place, you need the external world and other sentient beings for you to add on your own punk ass dot and develop what you think you are. So when you are only able to do that with yourself, you're only going to start making imaginations and being tired of that, and it's starting to be your own worst nightmare. So for the most part, here's the thing. Because you can't even give off no idea unless you wake back up in heaven and tell everybody like, hey, this is where I was at when I was in hell in my own world, in your dream. You know what I'm saying? It's just we're getting lost and thinking these things separate, learning from individuals who have the school of thought from Alexandria, retardation, I think, therefore I am. So the sun is from far east, another galaxy, water is from up north, another planet system, star constellation from far away, and somehow Earth been always here. We don't even see how that get in reality play out on a day-to-day basis. So that's retarded. You know what I'm saying? So that's somebody either creating confusion for you or they really believe that. You know what I'm saying? So if they believe that, we're wasting our tax dollars. If they're causing confusion, we're wasting our tax dollars. Both can go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Either one behind these tables understand which side they own. A person who might really believe it, Jordan Peterson, or some Jesuit or some Mason, is being like, I was just talking about this when I came to Earth, or I'm the son, or something like, you know what I'm saying? That'd be the manipulation of it. But either one, both parties going to hell. But but when you get into the concept of understanding, when we can get lost in our mind and then think we're not doing in our own mind what we're doing based upon what we're doing externally and affecting others, is the first failure. So we have to keep that in mind too. This is where the natural attraction comes from, where if you're doing something naturally, somebody will want to copy what you're doing anyway, not something dealing with force. So when we come into the concept of heaven and hell, these are faulty concepts based upon some type of situation where somebody tried to plagiarize something in the first place. So it's almost like, let's say at the Creeks, Indians wrote the Bible, right? And they had a truth that the world is God's body. So this is the motherland that God's children get born out of. And let's say somebody want to take over your land and play the God over your land. In this stage, they're going to act like the devil. But if they could take it over, they're going to start to play the God, culturally, resource-wise, and the way the government was ran and things of that nature, right? So it's almost like once you're in this position for a minute, you start coming up with a coping mechanism, but you might think it's right once you've been in a comfort zone so long. And this one I be saying the main star players ain't here, and it's just their kids doing things, because you can see clear as day if you're spiritual and you native, you'll be able to see that, all right, okay, this was somebody needing foreigners coming over here after taking our culture to believe that your mind is going to heaven and the world is hell. And then when they can write things like Lucifer run this world, what we meant about it is the light in your mind. What they meant about it is we're going to be the devil, and now the devil is the God of this world, and we Lucifer, the government. You know what I'm saying? God.gov. So it make you be a prayer warrior. This what Hebrew Israelites don't understand, or maybe Christians don't understand, the witchcraft that the white man may have put you in and things of that nature. So you end up being a prayer warrior, not the actual spirit that came from that. We didn't even call ourselves that. So, and it's about protection, not protesting. So it's about the land, because this is heaven. We make it. Heaven and hell is what you make it. But you know the process. You make the mind, it condense and become the organ. You see the atmosphere, it condense and become the environment. You see the sun, you see that sun, clouds, you see that condense and become water, rain. You see the crushing of it, crystals, material, landmass. So it's telling you that, oh, okay, we make these things. So in the mind, it's up to you to make the mathematical precision, and teamwork makes the dream work. The environment and the atmosphere become the mathematical precision. And we are creating new glorified bodies, new type of organs, all the way from you coming to an atom to a human right now, to be a little closer to God with that type of mentality. So it's about taking a rainbow path and having a perfect mind. So it's everything in nature to show us as an example that heaven is actually what we made. And we made it out of hell. To get to heaven, have to go through hell. To wake up in the morning, you have to go through a dream. To be born, you had to be in somebody's mind. So it's telling you what's in order and what's first. So you have an instance where you have individuals living backwards, and to cope with the negativity they have done, they did it in multiple layers, based upon education, based upon nature, how your food, your diet, how you're looking at things. And a lot of it ain't just because they know the truth and they're trying to steer you wrong. A lot of it comes from they're trying to survive and it's right for them, but what's right for them may be wrong for you. For an example, it's wrong for you to try to get into sex dolls and need all these type of pills and things of that nature to make your dick bigger, or however the case may be. But it may be right for them due to the fact of the spiritual path that they've been on. So the things that's right, but you might share similar organs and some, so it might be certain minor things like slight morals, slight honors. But when we truly see what we're actually doing with these things, and think about who's in charge of your tax dollars and things, they're more invested into things like sex dolls and missiles and weapons, other than things that's dealing with the natural quality that we would have all been in a more sufficient mind state and physically, and still be able to do the same type of things. So for the most part, just letting you know, people are just unhealthy mentally first and going to hell before we even start to express on this platform that we're calling Earth. And people get confused into the context in these terms called heaven and hell. You see what I'm saying? So you got to peep game. Don't get lost in your mind based upon terms and meanings behind it that purely come from subjective hells, subjective minds. You get lost in somebody else's hell, and it's your fault that if you go to a similar hell because you use your own mind to get there. Thank you so much for the cash app, Davion. I appreciate that for the mama. So we've been having, not we, but I guess how you kind of look at these contexts and see how religion is being played out, you can see the starting points on how things been observed for and misplaced with terms, and got people thinking about things the wrong way. Hell and heaven don't even exist. And if you want to talk about it, y'all are counterpartmentalizing different procedures of this mechanism, and y'all forgetting what come first and last and things of that nature. You know, you dream and you woke up out of a dream. So that's what you got out of, not you wanting to get out of the body. Would kill yourself then. And you know you don't want to do that. That's in nature. So it's showing you that when you create a mind, that condense and become the organ, and that's how we're creating new glorified bodies. Not you getting lost in the mind and then you thinking your body that you in when you woke is a hell. That's you in your mind not liking something about yourself. So those esoteric filtering glasses externally is self-projecting. You have an unhealthy self-reflecting energy. So something you hate about yourself is what you're going to find in the world that you hate, because you're not tapped into the holy holies ones in a relatable way. So you don't know how to find what you hate outside of you that ain't got nothing to do with you, to make you keep externally pushing that hate and not kill that animal inside of you first. You see what I'm saying? So you think it's something against you, where that thing is a different mathematical percentage in the atmosphere and the environment, or even species, of a piece of the same energy inside of you that you don't like about yourself. And it's just taking a different form. So since you don't know how to deal with that spiritual travel, you can't come with no relatability or synchronicity or mind your business. You got to come with some destruction, destroy, or secretly observing and taking. But at some point, this is where that negative seed come from, when you don't know what you're doing in life, and you may come up with a whole bunch of things that's really just subjective in nature. And anyone who's attracted to it to build up a cult or a group or a gang or whatever is purely just a group of the same individuals going to the same place, not being able to be aware y'all in the same pocket, because the first layer, you can't share somebody's space. So the first layer is the mind. You're just in your own representation in that place. You would never be able to interact with that person there, though. You're lost in your own mind. You only can interact with others when groups of minds come together and create organs, and then y'all can use y'all mind and body in the world that y'all create to realize each other and show each other what y'all have done with y'all internal subjective travel, your own goal mind. And then when you bring it to the table with everybody else, you fly there in a direction of relatability and synchronicity energy, regardless of what that is. If you're doing that negative, you go to a same pocket, just a world of spirits that's doing that to get ready to reject. So y'all don't get to condense and seed each other. Y'all stay in a less dense world, your own mind, and you can't be in somebody else's mind. You see what I'm saying? That's your own, that's your first body, your first layering. Then your second body is your physical, and then we create the external world to mimic that, so we can experience each other physical. And when you lose that track, that's what takes you to hell. And when you don't know no better, you have grace and be able to do it again. If you do know better and you didn't do better, you have longer times, and depending on the percentage scale, just the extension of not having grace, but eventually may have it. And spirits that fight against it because they hate themselves so much, they have nothing external to fight anymore once they have their physical, once they don't have their physical body anymore, and they're in their mind. And if the mind not relatable and synchronized, it's not a spaceship that come back and get planted, and you don't float here with it to make a new mind and body. You stay in that rejected one that's unrelatable, so it has nothing to do with how things exist here, and you made that. So now you in your own mind suffering with your own dislike, and then the only thing you could do is try to turn your thoughts and feelings off, and now you're on your way to spirit evaporation. And then Lord knows how long that take, because how long you have convinced yourself what you was doing when you was alive was helping you build that whole foggy mind of all the things you got to clear out. You got to burn all that fire out, and that's going to be all that stimuli, all that experience that only you can experience. And some spirits don't even make it to spirit evaporation. You think of one thought worse than the other thought. And then one thought, then you don't know how to get out of it, because they're all unrelatable thoughts. You can't even relate with yourself. So you're trying to unrelate with yourself, get yourself out of your mind you created for yourself, and then that's spirit evaporation. And there's a large group of spirits that have done that, and things of that nature. You gotta look at it like this, right? Let's say you got, all right, let's just make it simple. You got two sides of your family. Let's say one side of the family negative, another side of the family positive. The side of the family negative, once they die and they thought forms and stuff, no one want to act those thought forms out no more. And say it's someone who still got those natures that's born, they can't do it the full maximum way, the way that other side of the family was doing it. And let's say the other side of the family was doing something more relatable. You choose to take those thoughts and feelings. Those thoughts and feelings is bodies, right? Different angles, less dense, are bodies that the Great Spirit has seen as more relatable. It's more in sync of what the Great Spirit did to sustain itself to be here. So if you do things after the Great Spirit, you're trying to do things to sustain yourself here. But when you do it opposite, it's not like something that came before you, so it's rejection. So when you got something inside of your body that's not doing things like the rest of your body done before it, you look at that like a parasite. You look at that like you need to get that out your body. You look at that like it needs to be flushed out. You look at that like a foreign object, right? And it start to play out in your body as illness and stuff like that. So it's the same way in the spiritual world when it comes to a spirit creating a body, and a body is they mind, and the mind is toxic, and it ain't relatability as easing for the Great Spirit body. Because when we all put our mind together and create this environment, that's an organ. That's an organ for the Great Spirit. And when it's a group of spirits here don't understand that, it's like they destroy God's world because they already destroyed in their own world in some way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? So this is not a situation where y'all have to think, oh, this is good and bad. What people do, whatever a person is doing, they're doing to themselves and going there. This is how they get up out of here. Don't ever think people doing stuff and get lost in English white man logic that since ain't nothing happening to somebody physically, that don't mean ain't nothing going on. The simple fact that a person is in the position that they're in, they had to make that up. So when you think about even the highest form of government, that's the highest form of going to hell. You have to look at it like that. they could be the only ones that cope and be like they don't believe in that. That's the actual mathematics it takes to go to hell. But here's the thing, we don't work off beliefs, we work on knowing. And we know you have a dream, and we know the only thing real is an experience, and we know we make the dream and the imagination to give us ideas to make things in a physical world for us to even enjoy it, or whatever the case may be. So we know the things we enjoy is the things we don't take with us. So we know the actual experience is the only thing we taking with us. And if it's just a goddamn take one for some pleasure that we was doing alive, that's going to hell. There ain't no way around it. You see what I'm saying? So don't let nobody fool you, because this will be a person that's self-reflecting and needs your validation, even if they have to force you to think they way to feel better about themselves. And that's another way of going to hell. That's being lost in other people's mind that you don't even care about. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying? So it's all forms of going to hell. So you don't want to practice no government shit or no type of think that you in control over people in an unrealistic way, because this is the fastest mathematic to go to hell. Not giving a fuck, self-satisfaction, working hard to do it, and knowing what you're doing. That's the perfect mathematics to get the hell. You can't go somewhere without making it up. You can't drive to California. I mean, you can't get to California without going there. You need to. So a person can't tell you before they get there if they're gonna get in a car accident or not and stuff like that. But a person still have to make the stuff to get there. If a person knew everything they was going to go through before they went there, they might choose not to even go. Let's say, oh, you know you're going to get into an accident at this hour when you're on the road. A person going to be like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? But they have to make up the mathematics to get to, so they can throw that all out the window and still get on the road and drive. And then when they get to California, that let them know they're in California. Now, take that same way when you get to hell, right? You can't just know it. You got to make it. So I'm saying, you gotta make it. People who don't give a fuck at high magnitude levels, they made what we call in hell. It really ain't have to exist. People brought that into existence. The possibility of being lost in your own mind after death, because you created so many thoughts and feelings when you was alive to get some self-serving thing. So it's unrelatable. So it's not something you can escape. It's something you was trapped in, and when you ain't got no body, your spirit don't know no different. Your spirit ain't gonna know no different, and you created a big old experience for yourself. You know what I'm saying? That it could have been light. It could have been on a beauty path. Went into the direction of relatability and light. Light enough for you to get out of it. So you create experiences of being aware of something new. Now you got a new seed, and now you could use that old manuscript and then bring the old with the new and create a new glorified body. Teamwork makes the dream work, and the joining of multiple energies is sex. And then that creates the atmosphere and the environment. And then we create new organs and stuff like that. But when you leave from that path, you're already in some type of hatred towards yourself and needing other people to hate themselves energy. But other people ain't gonna hate themselves on a large magnitude as the people that's actually projected. So you have to understand it like that too. It's one thing for me to create something and force you to be in it in some way, but it's another thing that I'm the thing that created it. I'm going there first. You see what I'm saying? There is no such thing as me taking something or me creating something, putting you there, and then taking somebody else's culture saying, since I created it, I'm not of that world, and I could put you in that world, and since I'm not of it, I'm not going there. But this kind of the concept that the government is in. They're lost in reverse psychology on themselves. You the one who made that idea. You see what I'm saying? So that's where only you going. The person that's a person in jail who die in jail come back faster than a person in government, because the person in government put the person in jail. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. So the person who put somebody in jail when they was alive is in their own jail when they die. The person who got put in jail got way more thoughts that they're building up when they're alive of trying to be free. Even if when they're woke, no one let them free. They spirit don't know no difference. They spirit gonna be in there and make a mind that got something to do with breaking free. And then for the most part, they back into the relatable world. Everybody want to be free in their own type of way. Ain't even got nothing to do with jail. The spiritual world ain't looking at the physical things as right and wrong and what we do in specifics. It's looking at the character and the train of thought. If it's on a synchronicity and relatability that got something to do with how things here in the first place, then you're here. So whether a person in jail, whether a person don't want their job no more, whether a person is in a bondage relationship that they don't like anymore, or whatever the case may be, when they die in that space, they had enough time to think about thoughts of getting out of something. They just ain't get out of it physically. They come back into a heaven, not in it. aka they be born again. A person in a situation of doing these things to others only are able to do these things to themselves once they leave the body, because they didn't know how to do that to themselves when they was alive. So the little bit of grace God gave them to experience heaven, person made a hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it means. So you can't go to no world experiencing your own atmosphere and beautiful land and stuff like that and suns and stuff if you couldn't even treat this one right when you're alive. What the fuck? That don't even make no sense. What kind of atmosphere thoughts y'all be in? But this is how you will see certain things with people who are in cults and stuff like that. Even when you get into Masonic tracing boards, right? They think they're taking a ladder to the sun. They're lost in their mind. They're going straight to hell. Every tracing board is the mathematics to go to hell. Every practice to try to manipulate another person, and you know that you're manipulating it. You know better. You do better. So a person can't look at you as a role model. They got to look at you as a manipulator. You're going to hell. Whether that person know it or not. Because you made this up in your mind to do it externally on earth. So you the only one who get to experience your heaven that you made a hell. You know what I'm saying? So anything you manipulating outside, you're only doing that to yourself over and over again. And if you did it on the highest magnitude, especially kill people, you're only going to be killing yourself in your dream. And you ain't going to be able to find death. You ain't going to be able to find birth. The only thing you're going to be able to find is an experience. Getting dying over and over again. Prostate cancer. And over, you're going to think of another prostate that's even harsher than that one. And shit like that. You're going to have about 10,000 balls and dicks in the world of phallic religion. And burn forever. You know what I'm saying? Being lost in other people's minds. But that's how you get lost in people's nutsacks. Because that's how you get born through a father. You have to, in a spirit world, you have to share similar thoughts as someone else. And then for the most part, if they on the washing machine cycle just on their instant, you could be spiritually older. But to be born, they created an organ before you just in that character pocket that have been in and become a certain geographical location and things that these things will play out. And you literally in your lesser body, along with your mother and father lesser body working together as a team for you to get in that flesh in somebody's nutsack. You know, but when you lack character and you lack doing this and you being Yahlahué and you do got grace, a lot of times people never make it out of people's nutsacks. This is kind of like how the white race a little bit, by the grace of God, that they came into existence and stuff, but they still practicing the same thing to take themselves out of existence, aka going back in people's nuts. So it's gonna take us indigenous races again after the washing machine cycle to do some other mixing to bring white people back here again because they ain't got no damn mind, like they fucking retarded or something like that. So it's like this will keep happening, and throughout the eons and eons and eons and eons, when people who come after the fact don't catch on to what we're doing spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So it takes indigenous races to create new races and stuff. But at the same time, this is what it means to get stuck in the nuts. But having this esoteric travel and knowing if you want to hold something just in your nuts. To that spiritual root race, they're just in some universe darkness, triple blackness, not being able to become sperm, because when they was alive, they wasn't doing their internal build-up energy, and what they was doing externally wasn't relatable. So you lack the possibility of creating form, a mind and an organ. So when you just get stuck in only knowing how to create the mind form, and you can't get back to that spaceship where we all come and make organs and things of that nature, then you get stuck in the mind, but really you just get stuck in mind condensing into fleshly fluid and never reaching an egg cell. Somebody bust you and put you on some hotel carpet. Or somebody put you in a napkin or a towel or something. I'll say you'll never go nowhere. If somebody start practicing semen retention and stuff like that, then if some natives bring some colder, harder knowledge to be like, yeah, depending on the illness of the world, y'all might not understand this, but practice celibacy right now. Here's where the white man gets stuck in people's nuts, and now you're being able to come. Y'all say y'all don't understand this from a spiritual level. Y'all don't understand this from a spiritual level. Like, you got to understand this. When you're indigenous, you craft your land. That means something. You know what I'm saying? You don't protect. I mean, you don't protest. You protect. That means something. You know the way your subjective body works. Something is teaching you that outside of you. Holy ones. And that's closer to the absolute way. The holy, holy, holy. You always stay on the beauty path. You know what I'm saying? You know that. You know when you practice that, you feel better. You look better. You probably already on that train of thought and line of reasoning, been having grace. That's why you look better right now. That's why even if you are part of the cult race, You mix right now. You probably mix with Italian, Puerto Rican, Native. Some you a beautiful ass person right now. Things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? There's no other way to call it. There's no other way to look at it. So we're actually walking around seeing spirits in a mind that make the form, that condense and become our flesh, that we're walking amongst each other in the world, angels and demons. Don't think about it in your mind. This is reality. Everything is entwined. So the government is the devils. Now everybody in government ain't. You got mixed ones and stuff like that. But when it comes to that pure shit, they're doing that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said don't bash everybody. There ain't no racism in real life. That's some online shit, some small pocket trying to do around a round table or something like that. In real life, nah, everybody trying to get together. We working on each other's cars, we working on each other's clothes, we buying, investing in each other's business, we saving each other's from crime. That's all of us ethnicities and shit. Don't let no bad little bunch create narratives and then it seemed like we got a whole bunch of trash in each other's yard. I'm telling you, that's a whole 300, 400 game y'all been getting practiced on. You'll come outside in your esoteric household, cross the street trash in your yard. Your trash in somebody else's yard. We all arguing amongst each other. No, Asians are beautiful people. They're good business people. You know what I'm saying? Negro tribes, beautiful people. Arabs, beautiful people. You know what I'm saying? The white people, beautiful people. When we get into the details, once we get into that pure colorism, see, now that's a small pocket. And they be having some convincing energy that they get other ethnicities every now and then, like them East and South Asians that they trying to call Indians to get rid of Native Americans history, Arabs that they be throwing over here like Myron Gaines and stuff, giving them the white power template to carry out the duties and obligations of the white power god and stuff. So you might get confused watching a news channel just because it look colorful and you see white person pocket here, pocket there, but nah, they all part of the same birds flock together. That's a system thingy. That ain't got nothing to do with your day-to-day, average, everyday person that you just live around. No, I have nothing to do with that. So don't ever let them create that bullshit online. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to understand that shit because you'll have a weird psyop on your mind if you stay online all the time and go in real life with these actual characteristics. And you come across a white boy or white woman that can help you. Come across a native that can help you. Come across a Negroid that can help you. An Arab that can help you. An Asian, somebody you can help. Or whatever the case may be. Share business or something like that. Get your stick of bubble gum in their store or whatever the case may be. Start selling shirts in their shit or whatever. And they like your shit. Y'all all part of communion. A lot of shit we get online and start getting lost in, it don't be having nothing to do with anything when you just be at the common gas station or the store and everybody there. This shit be having shit. Matter of fact, we all actually be having to talk about this stuff. Like, yeah, you heard about that? You heard about it? Ain't never like if you might get lost online too much, you might think and think it's like that or whatever the case may be, but then you will end up being that person in real life that look like the oddball. Like you could be at the club, the bar, or the gas station or something like that. And the moment you add on to the conversation, you automatically sound like the oddball. Everybody would be like, oh, you on TikTok all day, ain't you? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you like we'll be able to do that. Cause like we on it too, but there's a communion. You know what I'm saying? When you got a real life and this is entertainment, even if you're a content creator. But when this is desperate matters for you, you on it because you're stressed, or if you ain't a content creator, you only because this is your only form of entertainment and it's more the percentage scale of your world than the actual world, you end up using this as a template to act in the real world. And this is how we able to spot it because we're watching the same things you watch. It's just your sentiment that you're coming from sound like you think this is reality. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's different and stuff like that. But it's easy to see right now when you can see a person probably on their way to hell right now without even knowing it because they're following some type of synthetic thing that's controlled by others who don't know no better and got more access to online and the AI and stuff. So it could be a young charitable mind on their way to hell thinking the world is one way and don't have no natural kinship or communion in their neighborhood or anything of that nature or just with their family. It's like, it's stuff that it was natural things that built natural characteristics that's a necessity that y'all don't even have anymore. That's essential to dopamines you're supposed to have to make your organs run better and you interact and feel better throughout the day and shit like that. You can look at stuff like how a lot of y'all could be at a family reunion or something like that, all y'all on y'all phones, but once upon a time it was more ceremony based and that was less on a percentage scale. So even before and after, you had dopamines that made you feel good, period. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature where Everybody already in their own world. You stressed out on something on the phone. Y'all go all at the family reunion. Y'all all stressed out about different things. And there's certain dopamines that don't be spurring off, that even when you leave, you can still feel good. Like all those memories bend in and become blood flow, and then you can't wait to do it again. Y'all have some energies right now where I don't even want to do another family. See what I'm saying? Because it's like it's different, and they got y'all in some type of different implosion. You get ready to go to hell. You're not in heaven no more. You're not in the present. This is supposed to be heaven. Heaven is you can eat it, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it. You know what I'm saying? You can see God. You don't destroy God and things of that nature. Is y'all don't know what y'all seeing. Y'all just walking around all in your own minds, all in your own hells, just flooding heaven. Y'all all being demons in heaven. But it's the way you look at it. Y'all separating the mind and the body. And then depending on your religion, one may praise the body more than the mind, and the other religion, one may praise the mind more than the body. But y'all getting lost in subjectivity. I mean, in separation. It's a mechanism. One become the other. And if you get lost in one or the other, it can become hell. And then you just create that equilibrium concept. You get lost in your mind, and your mind get trapped in whatever you built, a statue or whatever if your body, even if you were so much into a certain pleasure and an organ of the body, you stay in that one. It'll never fully die. The rest of your body is dead though, so you can't be alive. So your mind be attached to an organ, trying to make it spark, and it can't. And to you, it's just a dream. You in hell, really, and experiencing all of those stimuli and shit. Prostate cancer, turn 20, Super Saiyan, Volume X plus, tonsillitis in your neck, all kind of shit. Now, you don't have to believe this, but it ain't about belief. It's about knowing. You know, when you was awake and thinking about when you had to pee long enough, you can go to sleep and have that same experience, and you ain't woke. You sleep. So the experience, you know you have experiences. That don't have to be a belief. You know you have an experience outside the body. And you know you can experience the same thing when you're in the body. So for the most part, you know that. That don't have to be a belief. You know your experiences, and what you choose to make the decisions in your mind to make up become, when your body resting, your dream mathematics. That's not a belief. You know what I'm saying? That's not something you have to go get a book. That's not something you have to, you know, when you have a nightmare, you want to get out of it. And when you got out of it, you woke up. The moment you say you're trying to get out of something else and call it esoteric, you're retarded. You only tried to get out your mind. You only tried to get out of a dream. You only tried to wake up. So obviously, that's the only thing that will be hell. That's the only thing you can experience not being born. You can experience not dying. You can experience just being there. You can experience, and there is no other place. So you don't have to believe that. That's a knowing. So start knowing what the fuck you doing. I gotta use the bathroom. Perfect time. You see, like, a person could be in their ego and laugh and be like, I don't believe in hell and stuff like that, because it's lost in synthetic things, and we don't know what we call in hell, right? So they could just do what they want and be like, yeah, I don't believe in hell, but hell is the mind. That's just good as saying that you had to be woke, but that's just like, I don't believe in a dream. But you don't have to believe in it. You know you dream. So just because you lost in synthetic worlds and concepts and mind states, and you don't think that's what hell is, that's on you. Like, you know what I'm saying? That ain't got nothing to do with, You could use English to get lost all you want. English don't tell you the truth. English is an interpreter language for me and you to do business, not for you to understand where the fuck you going after death. Understand that. Y'all need some language, indigenous stuff to help you understand the atmosphere, and this is what you a part of. As before you even get lost in these other concepts y'all call it heaven or hell, this is just something you doing. You got a mind, it condenses, and it becomes stimulizing organs. And one is in sync with the other. You have a certain mind state that resonate with a certain organ, that one start to resonate. Whether it's the horny one, whether it's the mental one, mental orgasm, whether it's the heart one you want to care, or the many other ones you need to be aware about yourself. But bitch, ain't no other way you live in life. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. That ain't no fucking belief. That's like that's how you could tell somebody in their ego. They had to be woke, not sleep, for you to tell them that, and for them to laugh at you like, I don't believe in hell. Well, I said but that's just like them saying, well, I don't believe in thoughts. I don't believe in dreams. But you just went to dream. So they sit here and try to argue with you. Well, your concept of hell is that why they're in their hell expressing it. You see what I'm saying? That's just a person who don't believe in themselves. It ain't about hell and Christian concept or whatever the case may be. It's about you lost in your own funky ass mind. And when you die, that's the only place you're gonna be when it ain't relatable. So your spirit is supposed to make minds specifically to make organs, bodies, not to create your mind to make a body and then stop doing that and use your mind to do a whole bunch of bullshit in the external world. This is why y'all so damaged. This is why y'all don't know what actual meditation mean or whatever the case may be. You really develop in mind states and you're traveling inside your body to know how you did it, each portion, and you understand that's a synchronicity of what maybe the Great Spirit did outside of us. So maybe if we could find that percentage scale outside of us that may be in a different shape and form, but resonate with the same nature, that outside nature and mother nature, if I could get it in sync with this inner nature, then I'm doing things like the holy nature, the great nature. You see what I'm saying? So don't let no white man say, well, the God is nature. That's them taking native shit and spreading it all over the world and making y'all believe in native shit. But really, it's the spirit. It's the great spirit. And spirits have abilities to create thoughts. And thoughts condense and become organs. And when we do it as a team, atmosphere, environment. And when we do it for ourselves, we have a piece of that great spirit for ourselves. A piece, space, soul, spirit, then a piece of the mind, atmosphere, then a piece of the body, environment. And the closer we know how to get to that, we could be amongst the great spirit as great holy ones. But you can't get there without taking a beauty path. The beauty path is showing you how to separate each thought and feeling, each color of the rainbow, and let them go in their direction in that walking talking cycle. Yahlahué, birth, life, deterioration, expiration. The holy ones teach us this. Teamwork makes the dream work. All of us together. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Equinox, solstice. See what I'm saying? So it's showing us how to do that. So when you're taking that, you want to make sure when you emanate your thought, blue, emanate your growth, green, emanate your fire, yellow, your creativity, your way of getting attention, expression, yellow, emanate your red, passion, emanate your pleasure, purple, emanate your inspirations and if it's optimism or not, orange, emanate your goddamn when you emanate all these colors and things, you know how to do these things at will, not expecting one to help the other one or whatever the case may be. So that's healthy sacrifices, where one may not be on the transition in the 7th cycle that it's supposed to. You're not trying to force it. It's smeared with others. You allowing that to be on this process. Birth, life, deterioration, death. And then for the most part, you're always open to build a new seed because you always expand out of that old ability. So when we create a mind, that's a form, and we get inside of it, information. Then it condenses and become inflammation, forms of organs. And then for the most part, when we use both tactics to create ways of getting out of or using the external world in a more relatable way, we create a train of thought and a line of reasoning that the spirit can spark to get out of the previous mind once the previous body die, so the mind get out of that, and then you end up being free. as a more broader spirit, because the spirit expands and contracts. So you have more experiences with that form, and you got outside of it, your spirit is bigger. It could create a bigger or a better form, mental form, to condense as a better organ with the previous circumstances as an ability, not taking it with you. You leave the old mind in the atmosphere and leave the old body in the environment. And if it's relatable, it becomes a thought people like that's more relatable, whether you died or did something for good reasons. And then for the most part and then in the physical, there's burial grounds, or you always remember, or your essence is always being carried out, and so you always have a way of coming back and being able to pick a body that matches the percentage scale of basically what you are, that could go back into this flushing system, because we're always doing things for the great spirit. And if you're taking a beauty path, those are the only seeds that bring things into existence in the first place. Anything is subjective, is separating itself in totality. That's what I'm saying. So you got to peep game. So when you separate in your mind from things that's unrelatable, then this is where you end up going to Yahlahué. You go into your own mind, and that's what we call in hell. So you have to understand that. Spiritually, you make a mind state. It's relatable to you. So when you start to do that self-reflection, you start to project outside your body. It's going to be relatable to others. And then the more relatable to others, teamwork makes the dream work. We do something relatable in the atmosphere. We make a circle. We all come together. We link, even built amongst each other and stuff like that. And then those become the physical seeds of us being God's children, remixing the world closer to God. So we're bringing heaven on earth from the spiritual quality. Now, when people do that in a negative space, they already opposite. So in spirit, they don't notice, but then they create their own desire, their mind, but it look like expectation, don't like something about it when they self-reflect and start to project that outwardly, something they don't like in the environment, and start to destroy the concept of relatability and make something only relatable to itself. So for the most part, that's a spirit on a cycle of getting up out of here. So it's your own responsibility if you want to be here or not. Not someone trying to convince based upon having validation issues and saying, I don't believe in hell. Well, go and take yourself out of here then. You just don't want to kill yourself physically, but you're going to take yourself out this existence. But you're on that same path. Killing yourself, not being fluid. You know what I'm saying? In your own mind, not being able to expand. So you're allowing things to dry up, stay in one pocket, stay in a deterioration place. So as a spirit, even if you got grace, every mind and body you come in is already at a deterioration space. Your skin might be at a deterioration space. Your thought process you always need layering, buffering, other concepts, other cultures, other circumstances for you to feel fully comfortable about yourself, or you always gonna feel opposite and feel like you need to defend or feel like you're in survival. You see what I'm saying? So that's a true spiritual animal, a true spiritual child. One who don't know how to become an adult because you don't know how to make the mind to make the sufficient organ. You know what I'm saying? So when you don't know how to make organs, and then you don't know that's what we're doing, you take yourself away from having that ability. And since we're in a world, we know that's what we're supposed to do. So when you don't know how to think right, you lose the ability to making sufficient organs that work right. So when you're born here through grace, instead of you getting back on the right path, you deal with validation issues and not liking yourself. And then that's the path to spirit evaporation and a group of spirits that does that. So these where extreme natures come out on negative and unrelatable ends also for the sake of survival or one's subjectivity. But at the same time, these are things that we have to learn. This is where a person have lost the rainbow path and can't create these things at will. So they get lost in one needing to help or overlap the other. And then that's all the colors together being stuck in one box, one light. And then the spirit can't move forward because it ain't smeared down in light. It put all of it together as a thick, foggy mind. And the spirit is inside of it seeing the same thing, thinking it's the brightest thing in the world. Really only manipulating themselves. The darkest thing to every other spirit that's around it that know how to spread it out and keep traveling and with this little circle band. And the spirits stay in one pocket, what y'all will probably look at as the winter or Pisces area in the sky, and they just stay here. They don't never keep going on a rainbow path with us. You know what I'm saying? Being righteous where our spirit's going to the left and the forms we're creating appear to be going to the right because we're inside of it. Keep creating the left forward and up. And everything that's right, down, and back is creating form as we keep creating awarenesses to collect together. So this is how the dragon eating his tail. Spirit go to the left, forms appear to be going to the right. So the sun appear to be going to the right, but we're rotating to the left from a physical perspective also. But it's just in that emanation area, right? So this is how we get time zones. But you have to understand that internally to be able to understand. We crafted that externally, and the Great Spirit give us that ability. And you lose that ability to create an organ when you lose the ability to have a sufficient mind that's relatable. So even if you have grace, the ability of making a mind is going to be unrelatable to the organ it creates, something you don't like about yourself, and then you lose the holy messages. So the holy, your atmosphere and environment, mind and body, is resistant to the holy atmosphere and environment, all of us as a team. So you're making unhealthy layering systems. You lack layer systems because you lack fluidity, you lack vibe, you know what I'm saying, you lack intellect. So a lot of times when there's no logic behind something, there's no vibe, no fluidness behind something, it has to be replaced with a lie, manipulation, or coping, or reproducing, or taking, and then or synthetic, or unnatural. But these things could be put on a natural path. It just takes a little longer to actually get to the place everybody else is at, and things of that nature. So we have to understand we're crafting the world. We're making the world. We're making the atmosphere and the environment what it is. And for the most part, the more we're desertated in the mind, the more it ain't even going to be nothing that grow, and things start to appear to be going in some linear aspect of desertation. So we have to be careful of that too. This is why we did so many ceremonies and stuff about the land, because we know this is what keep the fruit plump. This would keep the natural things in order. This what keeps the natural environment and the weather and the cycle system and even the animals and stuff going on their natural pace. Like for an example, it could be small stuff like your area get gentrified, but there's a certain groups of backyards and stuff before it was gentrified that's get ready to be burnt down to make a bigger house or something like that, right? That it was a certain collection of bees there that was pollinating plants, that was making a lot of honey, that we probably could have some new age form of honey naturally that could be sold in stores right now, that 90% of it ain't synthetic. You see what I'm saying? But that area is no longer thriving for the natural thing that was there to produce that yellow iron, even from a bug perspective. Think about it all the way to a human and us using our mind for the environment itself. You get it? This is how you understand being tapped in and stuff like that. But we have to get back to these energies, because if you can't treat the world you in right, there's something wrong with you internally that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And then that's a self thing. No matter what you convince yourself that you did outwardly to replace that validation issue that you have to cope and justify with the decisions that you made, that's highly unrelatable. And that goes for anybody. And it's not always about being relatable. You could be getting taken advantage of. The relatable thing to do for your subjective nature is to find a synchronized way to stop getting manipulated. So you could teach someone else how to get out of something from that perspective. Everybody trying to get out of something. So when you're just in the mind, your spirit don't know no difference. You're already going to be expanding and contracting, aka creating experiences on how to get out of something that suit just your subjective experience. And then that allows you to get out of that mind, so you're not in Yahlahué anymore, and that could go into the atmosphere, and your body already went in the environment because it went to its expiration date. So these are things that we're not supposed to stop the process. Birth, life, deterioration, expiration. When you start to get lost in separation, right? It ain't like you could stop that process, but you might think you a powerful spirit, thinking you God. So then when your body that you can't stop go through that process, birth, life, deterioration, expiration, you tried to create a mind, and when you was alive, to think that you was something. And then for the most part, now you created a mind that forgot how to be on this process. Birth, life, deterioration, expiration. And you can't find neither one in this mind you created. You can't find birth, you can't find life, you can't find deterioration, and you can't find death. You sure can make a thought about it, though. You could dream about being born and can't never jump back in the baby. And you might jump inside of it and be like, oh, this is what a neuron look like. This is what you're never in it. It's full of thoughts when you was alive that you're just in your own mind making up these images, never being amongst others with your mind in a relatable space to condense, and we all can share organs. So this is how you stay in your pocket hell. You can't find birth, can't find life, can't find deterioration, you can't find death. So you're going to be trying to be a God on earth in your mind, can't never seem to find being a God. You know what I'm saying? Trying to be a devil on earth and your mind can't seem to find being a devil. It's almost like trying to be a god on earth. In your mind, you probably can fly and shit like that. Nobody believe you. Nightmare. Try to be a devil on earth and things of that nature in your mind. And when you start dreaming and you go to hell and shit like that, you probably can do all the devilish things in the world. No one gives a fuck about it. Don't look at it like it's devilish. Another nightmare for you. You could be on earth right now, claiming that, yeah, I'm God because I rule everybody and I'm in my own world or whatever the case may be. Okay, when you die, you in your own world and you really got to do that for real. And you ain't going to like it because it ain't going to be nobody else in the world. You create a news channel around to make you feel that way. So it's just going to get boring. Another damn hell for yourself and shit like that. So eventually, everything to get out of or switch to dream is you get ready to practice spirit evaporation. You getting out of the thoughts you don't like about yourself. And you made the mathematics to get there. You had time when you was here in heaven amongst others, with others who've been there, done that, and try to be here, regardless of the position of the synthetic version that you think they in, if you looking less on them, to know better, to do better. You know what I'm saying? It take ears to see, eyes to hear. Because it take the ears to see, because your ears is basically the organs that was made from the less dense mental forms up here to let you know you in a conscious river flow to see. So when you're hearing like seeing where something coming from. That's where you're at in the spiritual see, that we're all creating these organs up here. That's why everything up here, we understand it more with signs and symbols, street signs, symbols. And then once you get to the lower area, it play out in another way. And then it take eyes to hear. Your eye is the organ you made to be able to see that area in the spiritual world that we make and condense here. So it take eyes to hear, right? Because your eyes allow you to see that you're here now. You're here now in the present. You know what I'm saying? So it take eyes to hear, to know you're here. And it take ears to see what you're swimming in and see what direction it's going, to see where you coming from and where others is coming. So it's like y'all living backwards in some type of way. And the English language, like a lot of it was done on purpose like that, to convince you going in your mind is going to heaven so somebody could rule this heaven and be devils and play a god, which would make Lucifer God. But Lucifer is the devil, and devil is just a group of people in their desires. And the group of people in their desires is people who's taking people's lands and the resources without caring about the people, the government. So it's people acting out things in their mind, going to the gravest hell to experience someone else's heaven, which is why we get that settler concept. So obviously their homelands is a hell. So when you go beyond homelands, your internal homeland, the spirit being inside of your mind and your body, is already a hell. So you can only self-project what you didn't self-reflect the right way. And if you're a damaged, hurt individual, you know nothing else but to hurt others. But everything needs to be reversed so a person can understand the spirit creates the healthy mind that becomes the organ that you don't have to follow a jealous God anymore, because you end up being a shit anytime you born. And I love all, and make sure your God is born. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight Boss, bitch, we're going to do open panel tonight too. Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of Terry's Moon. I am the Royal RJGL, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. That's it.